This budget should have addressed the issues, especially of the voters, because there was a huge unprecedented mandate for this government. And all those people who voted looked forward that the government would fulfill its promises. But this government, instead of fulfilling the promises of the people, they have fulfilled the promises of the IMF. This has been more or less an IMF budget. That is totally unfair. So what we are saying is, for one thing, the government has said it will maintain a budget deficit of 8%. In 2009, they said the same thing. They said they will have an income, total income of 855 billion. But in fact, it dropped to 699 billion. This year, they have said they are estimating an income of 817 billion, which I believe is a dream. They will not get close to it. And their revenues will drop. And as a result, the budget deficit will go up again. So ultimately, they are not pleasing the people of this country, or they are not pleasing even the IMF. This is what is going to happen. Now, if you compare all the different heads and the allocations, we can see that there has been an increase in some and decreases in some. Then you can look at the direction in which the Mahinda Chintanaya is moving. For example, for the President's office, in 2009, 11 billion was allocated. This time it's 15 billion. There's an increase. But for the Ministry of Justice, in 2009 it was 8 billion. Now it's reduced to 3 billion. For the health sector, which has had immense problems, and there's been a shortage of medicines all the time, in 2009 there was a 58 billion rupee allocation. This time it has been reduced to 53 billion. So does it imply that there is enough medicines in the country? There's a huge problem in the health sector, but they are reducing the funds that are allocated. If you take the agriculture sector, which is a key sector for this government, they have reduced the allocation from 43 billion to 37 billion. If you look at education, it is remaining static at 27 billion from last year. There's no increase. If you look at child development and women's rights ministry, they had 1,200 million in 2009. This time they have reduced it to 742 million, despite the fact that there is a huge increase in malnutrition amongst newly born children and pregnant mothers. So these are big problems that the government is not addressing. Samurdhi, there are more poor people in the country. They had allocated 9.8 billion last year. It's static this year at 9.8 billion. So how can they say they promised that Samurdhi will be increased? A larger number of people will be brought into the Samurdhi network, but that is not going to happen. So what we saw in the past is that instead of bringing it into the budget, because it would be unpopular, the government quietly raised taxes before the budget. They reduced taxes for luxury vehicles and luxury items. This is an IMF condition, I believe. There is no reason to have done it. In 2009, in their budget speech, it clearly says, the government is saying the local car manufacturing sector has to be protected. Therefore, we shall protect it. This time, they are reducing all the duties of imported cars. Right? Then at the same time, they are saying in the last time's budget, in 2009, the government is saying the manufacture of local products like refrigerators and other electrical equipment are doing very well. We can even export refrigerators. Therefore, we are imposing a cess of 50% on refrigerators and other electrical items. In this budget, they are saying that we are doing away with that cess. We are reducing the duty on refrigerators and other electrical items by 30%. So how can economic policies change every month or every year? What is the economic model that this government is following? Right? One day it is Mahinda Chintanaya, next day it's IMF Chintanaya. So we are confused. They are ruining this country's economy. The war is over, but the people are not getting benefits. So we, as an opposition, are malnutrition, and the government is going ahead and increasing milk food prices. This is not correct. We are asking the government to address the main issues of the promises they made. The war is over. If they do a proper economic model, they can get over the economic issues. We are telling them to increase salaries immediately, increase the Samurdhi transfers, give housing assistance to build houses, start giving employment as promised, give the kerosene oil subsidy, then give the milk food subsidy, and give jobs to the undergraduates as promised, the graduates. These are promises they made, As an opposition, we are going to talk to other opposition parties, and as a joint opposition, if the government does not pay the 2,500 rupees to the government servants, we shall take action to get to the streets and call for a general strike until that 2,500 is paid.